All right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Savant Ascent REMIX, a twin stick shooter with a twist. Move between two platforms to survive this elevator ride through a robot infested tower. Use magic and acrobatics to increase your power meter, and blast your way through the mechanical horde. The immortal samurai awaits you at the top. Right, so this game was given to the Galax for review. So over to him for the details.
So this is a remix of the earlier game Savant Ascent. Savant is the name of an electronic music artist, apparently, who did the soundtrack for this.
Mm, that seems to be correct.
Uh-huh.
I don't know Savant's music.
And Ascent is the theme of the game. Also, this version currently just has normal mode, but apparently there's going to be a mode where you can play as the Owlboy characters because this is by the Owlboy people. And
Mhm.
also, there's a classic mode, which is presumably going to be, the original version of the game or something to that effect. But yeah, you play as an alchemist who fucked up and got kicked out of his tower, and now you got to get back up to the top. So the whole thing is elevator action. Um, the movement is almost digital. You basically, because the area is so small, you basically have a left position you can stand in and a right position you can stand in, and it looks like a dodge roll, but you're not invincible between those two things. You can also jump with either the default button assigned is what they call, and I'm thinking about taking this on, button south, which is a little bit awkward because you're shooting with trigger. You stop shooting while you roll or jump, and when you resume shooting, you shoot a little bit. You shoot like a burst for your first thing, which can come in handy. I mean, the tutorial is actually pretty good. The jump is actually by default. It's by up on the stick, which is not my favorite really. But you can jump and land on either the same platform or the other one, and you have like multiple in-air jumps. I think it's a total of 3. Uh, Easy and normal difficulty is mostly about, I don't know, maybe it's more than 3. Easy normal difficulty, you mostly get you start with 5 hearts on easy and only 3 in normal. And then in hard mode, your power button, which you use for the power shots, and possibly the magic, which I'm not sure if I unlocked any of. It didn't seem to be working because that's allegedly what you use the left bumper for. Where was I? Sorry. I'm a little bit out of it today, so if I lose a train of thought, that might happen. So the jumping. There's an entire button dedicated to using your grappling hook to grab the CDs or occasionally hearts that chest enemies usually drop. And it can be tricky to get the chest enemies because they do start like flying off the screen. Before, like the tutorial stage, you're standing on a platform at the base of the thing. So, oh right, I remember. In hard mode, there are no checkpoints in the middle of a stage, I think, and your power meter starts empty instead of full. Although, since you charge it by making regular shots, it's not super hard. And I think even on hard mode, you can hold 3 at once. So it's not like you're ever going to be completely. So it's mostly as you'd expect, a timing based. Oh yeah, also it threw me off at first. You can just left and right between the two platform positions, even when you don't have to jump, even when they are not connected and it looks like you'd fall in between them.
Yeah, they need to do a better job of conveying that.
Yeah. I mean, you learn pretty quickly, I think, in experience, but it would have been nice to have that explicitly stated, I think. So yeah, mostly you're just trying to shoot all the guys and ideally get the chests. I don't know if the music does anything aside from literally unlocking background music. I've heard some. Apparently, in the old version of the game, you got different abilities by doing different music, but I again, I only got to about, and this is a short game, and I think I got about halfway through it. It's about like so, and the different stages have different gimmicks. The first stage is pretty simple. The second stage has a lot of moving stuff and it's industrial themed. The third stage is the catacombs and it's dark and you can only see in your aiming thing, and the boss of that stage is like your evil reflection or something. So that was hard, but I actually had less trouble with it than I did with the chainsaw things in stage 2. Because they have a shield and then they shoot their chainsaw in a boomerang way, so you have to jump over it twice. And yeah, and there are bosses in between each stage, which are pretty long. I think they're like, it feels like they're almost as long as the stage, but usually you have to figure out how to hurt them and avoid their attacks at the same time, or go back and forth quickly. It looks interesting. It's the pixel art, I mean, as expected from the Owlboy guys, the pixel art is very good looking, and I almost want to recommend it just on that. But yeah, I don't know. The story, there's not really like a ton of text or anything, or like much of any text in terms of explaining what's going on. So you will be relying on implications and or looking stuff up, I think, for that. I don't know how much replayability there is to this, aside from playing for score or whatever, or trying to do better, but it's definitely a fun experience, and even though I was having a really hard time with it, it never got that frustrating that I needed to do more than like put it down for a little while and think about what kind of patterns I was trying to because sometimes my brain does that when I'm trying to dealing with a complicated or unfamiliar control scheme. Also, the bosses are usually 2 phases, I think. So that's interesting. So yeah, I think overall, generally, I guess it kind of depends on the price, but I definitely had fun with it. Yeah, it does do a, it has dramatic frame stop. Mr. Sargent is in the chat and I'm responding to this. It has like dramatic screen freeze when you pick something up or when you get hit, to make sure you know you got hit, but sometimes you might think you're like dead when you just got hurt, and then if you don't stay on your toes, you might get hurt again. Although you do have a bit of iframes. So yeah, like this is a fairly typical boss thing where the weak bosses I've fought, where like the weak point is one thing that's flying around. While that's doing that, you have to dodge the actual guy and then destroy the things that he sets up before they really like go after you. And yeah, it starts. You start over at the boss. When you start like the boss or the stage. The bosses are considered their own stages in the stage select. So yeah, overall, I think I have a generally pretty positive experience with this. Although some of this will depend on how much it costs. I did play on easy. And I would probably recommend playing it on easy first to like learn the game, because it lets you see more of the patterns. So quick tip for Vario for the first boss, for the first stage, when it does the two spike ball things that split out to the side, if you use a power shot to blow up the one on the right, that's the one that swings through your space, and if you do that, you don't have to worry about jumping over it. Yeah, games like this where it's beneficial to learning it to live for as long as possible first, and that's the main thing that easy does compared to normal. And then hard is for people who enjoy no checkpoint challenges in games, which is not me. So yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions or anything? Anything I haven't covered? I know my brain is slightly scattered.
How was the actual music?
It's good techno music. It's good music to shoot lots of beams to. Not that I am an amazing connoisseur of electronica, but I enjoyed it enough, and I don't know if I would buy the game just for the music, but I'm the kind of person who would buy the game for the pixel art, so...
Do we know if the music is available separately?
We do.
Yeah, Adam, you run us through the prices, which I assume includes a soundtrack.
So Savant Ascent Remix, the game, clocks in at $9.99. And there is the bundle which includes the soundtrack, for $14.98. Let me pull up the soundtrack by itself. See what that's going for.
Because there is also you can unlock the soundtracks in game, obviously.
Yeah, the soundtrack itself is $9.99, so I'd go with the bundle.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Golix, is this game worth $10?
I enjoyed myself, that I'm gonna lean on yes. My only concern with that would be that if you don't find it replayable, it might be on the short side. But again, there's at least apparently one other game mode coming at some point, even though this is a fully released game, so...
Yeah, it's no early access here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think overall... I would say this is probably worth $10. Certainly, the art and music is good enough to merit. This isn't like it's a short game, but it's a game that has like a significant amount of art and design in it. You know? So I think it's worth it on those grounds.
Right.
Oh, and this game does actually have such options as, I mean, I know this is a freaking low standard, but some of the games I've had lately, it has options for like remapping the controls and individual adjustment of soundtrack and sound effects, and easy way to. Although there was the lack of feedback when you put it into windowed mode is weird, but like it worked without complaining. Which I know these are incredibly low bars, but they're incredibly low bars that some of the games I've reviewed lately have failed. So.
Right.
So yes, it was nice to play this.
Good to know. Right. So I'm guessing that's about it on Savant Ascent Remix.
I think so.
Okay. Petty, is there anything you want to add?
Sir.
Okay. So yeah, that'll about do it here. Be sure to tune in after the break as we review Fluffy Cube.